crafty friends, this is card number 39 in Full Deck Challenge 3. This is my postage stamp, which is my constant in dark blue. And then my carryover item from last week, of course, is going to be the paint tube. I have to use that again. Our prompt for this week was stars. So I have my stencil with stars, I have a star punch, and then I have these small green glitter stars. I may or may not use all of this. I just went through my craft room and collected a few things with stars. This is just some collage paper. To start, we're going to do the background of the card, which is a mini collage as an overall theme. So I'm going to cut a few pieces of this book page. I started off cutting small little pieces. I then changed my mind later on, and after I cut some strips of the star paper, I decided to rather do strips with this paper too. It's okay to change your mind. I'm going to add the strips across the face of the card using Mod Podge to glue them down. And I'm also going to add a layer of Mod Podge over the top because I am going to put color over all of this, some color medium. And if I don't waterproof it, it's all just going to get really soggy and the paper could possibly tear. I'm going to alternate the book page strips with the star paper strips. And the prompt for next week is candy, or as known in Australia as lollies, or as known in South Africa as sweets. Interpret that prompt any way you want. I really like the bits of stars that are peeping through on this collage background that I've done. I like that you can see that there are stars, but you can't see the full star in each one. It's portions of it, but you can still make out what it is. A small amount of gesso just to lighten some of the areas and to push everything into the background. I'm now going to use my texture paste through the star stencil. I'm going to go over most of the card. The stars are really small and I think that looks really cute. I'm going to dry that texture paste really well, and then I'm going to add my color. I'm going to use watercolor powders. I have two different brands. This one is the Color Burst by Ken Oliver, and the other one is called Brusho. I'm using greens, blues, and turquoise. These are super concentrated powders, so you just sprinkle a very small amount onto your work, and then you spray it with some water, and you can just see that color develop. It's actually my favorite color medium to work with. So I've put all the colors down at the same time in different sections and sprayed. So I've let the colors blend one into the other. You have to be a little careful though that the colors don't mix too much and become muddy. And you can keep adding more powder if you want to get a darker, more vibrant look. I accidentally covered up that one corner that I was trying to keep open. So I'm just going to use a baby wipe to clear off some of that color and the texture paste so you can see that it is a plain card. I'm going to add a little bit more dark blue color just to make the background a bit more intense. And now's a good time to tell you that you can join in the Full Deck Challenge at any time. This is the third deck. You can join on any deck with any card at any time. Rules are few, and I will put a link to the playlists for the other two deck challenges and this one so far in the description box below. And also if you're on Facebook, you can just search for my group, Full Deck Challenge Group. I'm using a pliers just to flatten that top part of the paint tube. The paint inside is dry, so I'm not really wasting anything and nothing is squeezing out the back, which is great. And then I've also folded up the bottom of the tube. I'm going to flatten it a little bit more because I am going to staple this onto my card. So it needs to be sort of as flat as possible. And then the idea I had is that I wanted something to be sort of coming out of the paint tube. I can't have paint coming out because first of all, this is dry. And then I thought it would be a little bit boring just having paint coming out. So I've got these little green glitter stars and I'm going to try and make it look like they are sort of coming out of that tube. I'm going to put my little blue stamp just behind the paint tube. I think it is a good contrast and adds to the focal point. Thankfully, staples work great for this, so I'm just stapling it directly onto the card. I don't know why, but I'm loving these used paint tubes on my work at the moment. I'll probably be doing it again soon. Anyway, to put the little stars as if they're coming out of the tube, I'm going to use some Mod Podge. I'm not going to paint it though flat. I want it to look like it's been squeezed out of the tube. So I'm going to use a paintbrush and just put dollops of the Mod Podge just here and there, but in the direction of how it would look if somebody had squeezed it out of the tube. And then I'm going to sprinkle the green glitter stars over everything and just let whatever is going to stick onto the Mod Podge stick. A little difficult to see on the video, but they really are sparkling and it looks really, really cool. I then thought I needed a little bit of some type of contrast. So I've got those stars on that collage paper that I used at the beginning. So I'm going to cut out a couple and see if I can place them somewhere on the card to create balance and that contrast that I was talking about. So I've placed one in the top right, and then I decided to cut one in half and put just half of it in the bottom left. I stuck these down, and then afterwards I didn't like the bottom left one. Because I've got the postage stamp and the top star slightly hanging off the card, I feel it's not balanced. I need sort of something hanging off the left as well. And I didn't want to cut the postage stamp or the star. So I cut another star and placed the whole one on the bottom left with some of the star hanging off the card. So the stars that I've placed down are not very bright. They're quite subtle, but I think it does create a good addition to the overall look and adds more interest. I will leave that Mod Podge under the stars to dry well overnight. I really hope you enjoyed this video and were inspired to create your own, perhaps something with an old paint tube. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. Thanks again for watching. Happy creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.